Pareidolia. I said it once, I'm going to say it again. Pareidolia. Look that one up, Pierre. Pareidolia. You don't have to. I'll let you know. I'll let you in on what pareidolia is. Pareidolia is when you start seeing faces in everyday objects. In everyday, ordinary matter. The world starts getting personified. I have been... I've been going around. There's this scene from the TV show Hunter x Hunter where Killua is getting tortured by his older brother. Getting electrocuted and all this and that. And he was just chilling there. He was just chilling. Up until he got word. He got the message that his friends were at the gate. So he's like, oh shit. Let me go hang out with my buddies. So the moment that he found out his friends were around, he's like, oh shit. Yo, it's a party. It's a party. You know what I do. It's always a good reminder that you should move on your own. You should move accordance to your own sort of timing at all times possible, okay? Now, I'm not saying be an asshole and just not go when the street light is green just because you want to test out the world and apply your power to it. But what I mean is, dude, we have to be able to see through the tricks and traps that our mind will project the fear from. For instance, anytime I come on here to blast out some kind of message or something like that, at times I'll feel this initial feeling of being rushed to say anything. Or a kind of pressure even to say anything at all. Like I have some kind of reputation at stake. Like I have to get out a message. If I don't get the message out in 10 seconds or less, I'm a loser, and I'm the worst, and I suck, and I'm lost, and it's always good to just sort of reel yourself back in and be like, yo, we're gonna be here a while. We're definitely gonna be here a while. So how about we just be a little more patient with ourselves? Well, anyways, the reason why I brought up that Killua story from Hunter x Hunter is because today I have been letting my mind fuck with me all day today. I've been letting my mind sort of run the show. If you're anything like me, what'll happen throughout your day is your mind is like it's like a kid that wants to fight all the time, or it wants to, like, you know, it's learning how to play, and it's doing rough and tumble play all the time. It's trying to figure out what is too much and what's not enough, you know. He's been through the sort of reckoning of, it's not enough for me to do some WWE fake punches where I punch the air and I pretend. That's not enough at this point. I gotta inflict some kind of damage, but let's see where the limits are. You know, what happens if I pull hair? If I pull hair, is that too much? How about if I start doing some titty twisters, some purple nurples? Huh? What about Nut Tat Tuesday? Huh? How are we feeling? Everybody, how are we feeling? Feelings check. Feelings check. Hey, did you know that when I first popped out to go outside for a walk, dude, I was initially, dude, I was like, you know, kind of scared out of my mind a little bit, a little anxious, a little fearful, a little nervous, you know. A little nervous Nelly. And I can tell anytime I'm getting a little nervous when my body starts to just clamp up and, you know, kind of freeze up on me. You know, anytime I'm just there, just kind of standing still, not breathing, hands in pockets, just, you know, static, statue-like. Anytime I'm statue-like, bro, that's symptomatic of rigidity, brittleness, old age, and mostly it's indicative of a stuck mind for me, frozen in thought for me, sort of stuck on a feeling, ba-da-ba-da-ba, I'm high on believing, ba-da-ba-da-ba. And, I guess nowadays what I've come to understand about myself is that, you know, it doesn't matter too much to me, if I'm feeling bad, you know. Here is like one of the greatest tips. Usually I'm not one for giving out like life advice, and I'm really more of a person who's like, yeah, we all got to figure it out for ourselves because no answer is going to be applicable to the next person and so on and so forth. But this one, I feel like this one's a pretty good. This is the kind of thing that I would not be apprehensive about. I would give this information to my offspring, is what I'm trying to say. I would relay this to my children. I'd say, look, if you're feeling nervous, scared, fearful, anxious, stressed, bothered, blah 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 blah, you know, all of really any of these sort of negative emotions, my through hole is express it through your body. Let your body be a vessel for these emotions that might be going on in your mind. let your body be the vessel that can sort of filter your experience. Because thoughts will occur in your mind. They will trigger a kind of feeling. And then that'll come out in some kind of action. Now, here is where you can get stuck. You see, if you have any sort of qualms, any sort of holdups about the kind of person that you want to be, well, now we're fucked. Okay? If you want to sort of walk around like you've got everything figured out, like you're stoic, like you just stand tall, stand firm, stand strong, you're a man. You're not a boy. You're a woman. You're not a girl. You're strong. You're not any of the other feelings. Come on. Your strength. Hardened by life. There's no way that you can fidget. Dude, fidgeting, dude. Always moving. Homeostasis. Finding. What is the frick... Dude, movement, motion. I'm telling you. If you move it around. I went to the post office today, and I got in there about 30 minutes early. I didn't check the time. I thought they were open up at 7. Usually they are, but I guess today they're open up at 9. And they have a foyer, and a foyer is like it's the entrance. It's the internal part of the building. Before it's like it's what your mouth would be before the food gets to the stomach, right? It's the foyer. It's inside, but there's still further to go. That's what a foyer is. In a house, it's probably right when you open up the door and there's a chandelier right there. The foyer. And so, I was waiting in the foyer. I was person number 2 in the building. And then people just keep, coming on in. And you notice this kind of thing when you're in public with, like, would-be strangers. People you've never met in your entire life. People of society. We all have a sort of societal face that we can put on. A sort of societal persona that we'll put on. And oftentimes it's a very, 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 very conservative, reserved kind of person. Like everyone... I don't want to speak for everybody because obviously not everyone is like this. But I'm in there. It's quiet as a motherfucker. You can hear a staple drop on the floor. And so no one's saying a word. All of a sudden there's 3 people in there. I'm in there and then 2 other people. One guy, he starts talking to this other dude. And they're speaking kind of like this, like. And one dude, he says, "Oh, this place always sucks. This place always bad." And I in this moment, I was just kind of doing some yoga. I was just stretching out, just breathing pretty loud. It felt like, dude. I was like, it was. Oh, dude. I love moments like these. These are the kind of moments that come back to haunt me. You don't know how lovely you are. No, this was the kind of moment that came back to bless me. Because I was in that post office, stretching out, doing pistol squats, downward dog, XYZ, who cares? And then when the dude, and like, And I recognize, in this moment, I'm there just kind of soaking in the atmosphere. I'm not trying to necessarily apply, I'm not trying to subjugate the world to me. I'm not necessarily sort of like packaging myself for the world either. I'm just kind of there. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Crazy frog, literally, crazy frog. Okay, so why am I telling this story? Is this just some kind of like look back on the past and braggadocious? Like, who cares about the story? This story should only be told if it has something of value, right? That if it could somehow help. Dude, I don't think there's anything worse than empty calories. Eating just to eat. Because that is a band-aid. That is a band-aid to a bigger issue. That's a band-aid to a 6-inch gash, a stab wound in the gut. And you're like, I'll just put some foundation over it. It's okay. I'll just put a band-aid over it. It's all right. And I've done that too. When I was a very young boy, about 7, I was playing catch, playing baseball with my dad in the backyard. It was some kind of birthday party for everybody. And we had a cake. It was an ice cream cake. And it was in the box, taped up. It still had this sort of tape on the packaging of it. And I was there. After catch, I pop into the kitchen, go in there to try and cut this cake open. And with the knife, I open up this cake, and I sliced. It was a big ass knife. It was one of those chef's knives, and I sliced it in such a way that I cut through the tape and then stabbed my hand. And whatever this story is indicative of what kind of person that I am. I stabbed myself in the hand. It's not like I stabbed all the way through my hand, but it was significant. Maybe halfway through my hand. The point went through. And what did I do? I put a Band-Aid over it. I put a baseball batting glove over my hand, and then I put my baseball glove over that hand. I told nobody. I just had this wound, incurred this wound, told nobody. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble. Someone's going to yell at me. I'm going to get in trouble for being hurt. I'm going to be in trouble for hurting myself. I'm going to be in trouble for whatever this was. I'm going to be in trouble because I picked up the knife. I'm going to be yelled at because I opened the cake. It's like opening up Pandora's box. It's opening up a can of worms. And so I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just deal with the pain myself. I'll tell nobody. And then, this will just be how I go about living my life. 7 years old. And you know what I did? I remember, pretty specifically, I was bleeding. I was bleeding through the glove, bleeding through the Band-Aid. And at one point in time, I remember trying to hide it. And what I did to hide it, I can't just get up with a bleeding hand and go get some paper towels or a towel or whatever. So I think I just did some kind of mixture between hiding my hand and putting it in my pocket and wiping my bloodied palm on the underside of a wooden table. Now, This is nothing more than just a portal into my mind, to my experiences. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Dude, I've been feeling like absolute shit. Fuck, I've been feeling like shit, dude. Fuck. And now that I see through that, I'll tell you why. You know, the whole time I've been feeling like shit, it's because I didn't want to acknowledge that I felt like shit. I didn't want to accept this as a reality. Like, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, you know, what I tried to do instead, I would try to use some kind of mental construct to sort of pull me out, you know, pull me up, help me out. Dude, if I just think about my connection with God, if I just think about, you know, the universe at large, if I think about all the things that have sort of helped me in the past, that have been breadcrumbs, that have been delicious and favorite and love, then I can find my way into harmony with the universe, and it'll be beautiful once more. And I mean, yeah, more or less, there's like a few things that work, but within all of that, I've been sort of recognizing my own patterns, right? And, dude, life is this continuous sort of figuring of it out experience. At least it is for me. All right? Like, I know the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's something to say about that. The whole, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But there's also something to say about when are you actually done with anything? You know, how much effort are we willing to put into anything? Now, if you're bound by constraints of time, and you are caught up in distraction, fear, and doubt, and you're living a life that is not your own, well, I mean, how much time and effort do you put into anything? You put as much time and effort into something until someone tells you to do something else. And oftentimes, you'll do it in a kind of miserable way. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this thing. Oh, this sucks. Oh, life is trash. Life sucks. Fuck. Right? And then, you know, so you sort of oscillate between miserable, irritated, and bothered, and then, you know, some kind of, and then your break from those feelings are when, like, a manager or a boss or some kind of authoritarian figure will come up in your life, and they'll be like, hey, do this thing instead. And then you're like, fuck, I wish I was free. Fuck, I wish I could just say, leave me alone. Go to hell. Fuck you. You know, I wish I could just take out all my feelings on you. You're the reason why I freaking, blaming other people that they're holding you down. Blaming other people, they're holding you down. They're limiting your freedoms. You're not free because of these people. And it's like, well, Who allowed them to do that? Who gave them permission? I find that all my problems, really, we don't have to be believers in God, but I do believe, dude, there is something that comes down to, like, oftentimes my problems are a direct result of not having enough faith. It's always a faith-based thing. Like, if I had faith, if I had 1,000%, 1,000,000% faith, 100-fold, 1,000-fold, 1,000,000-fold, trillion-fold, blessings untold, stories told from gold, Bordeaux Road, If I believed in my competency and if I had confidence in my ability to conquer anything that I apply myself to, then it doesn't matter because we're winning no matter what. I swear to you, that's the case. That is the case, and it has been such that, and every time I've applied myself to anything in life, I have won. Because here is why. It's not about, because you're not playing another team. We're playing a different game. It's a different type of rules that we obey. All right, dude? If I play Michael Jordan in one-on-one basketball, if I play LeBron James in one-on-one basketball, I'm not going to lose. Because I'm not playing the game that he's playing. All right? I'm going to be playing my own version of one-on-one basketball with LeBron James. But you know what? Regardless of all that shit, that is unrealistic. And that's a pretty bad analogy. What I really want, the sort of message that I'm actually trying to say is that when you actually apply yourself, when you reach the point of no return, when you are beyond the event horizon, when you open the door and the door closes behind you, and you have already decided that you're not going back through the door the way that you came, you're going to figure shit out. This whole thing about sink or swim, this is only something that is a festering of the mind before you go in and do anything. It's the pre-game. It's the pre-game chatter of the mind that says, oh, I don't know. Maybe. Will we? What's it going to be like? What are they going to be like? What's it in? All I'm saying, dude, if we had faith that, yeah, pretty much no matter what happens, I'm going to be sharp as a tack. I'm going to be receptive as a motherfucker. I'm going to be aware of everything. And it's not like I got to go in with a sort of plan to be the hardest mofo in the building. And, but that I'm going to be the man for the moment. Anything else here? Anything else I wanted to say, huh? Definitely, dude. Don't be afraid to be different. Okay? Don't be afraid to be different. Appreciate that we are all different. Appreciate that we can all be different. sometimes we as people can be a little more similar to one another than the rest, but don't be afraid to be the motherfucker who is okay. So in this moment in time, it appears that I'm sending out some kind of broadcast to somebody out there to be courageous, be bold, be brave. Right? This isn't a sort of new. This isn't the first time this has happened in the universe, in my life. What other sort of information can I broadcast out there? Besides that same old story. Say I was conversing with somebody who already was bold and brave and sort of just said, "Fuck it, dude. Yeah, I don't care. I'll apply myself to the sort of ways of I don't need to overthink. I don't need to overthink what I am, who I am. I can change with the times. I can go with the motion of the ocean. I can be one with the universe. I can resonate with the harmony of the world. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do this. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I guess I'll tell you the personal anecdote of where I was in my mind as I was going through this, dude. It's like we never left the hospital. But this time I wasn't scared. What'll happen is you start slipping into mystical consciousness. You just start slipping into ulterior thought patterns. And you start slipping back into like prehistoric, Native American spiritual ideas, Back in the days when, we would do rain dances and look to the clouds for answers, and what does the wind tell us? Shit like that. Moving off of abnormal signs for what today's day and age culture would define as normal. And so anytime I slip into like this little pocket of thoughts, oftentimes it's accompanied with a kind of nausea. Like, oh, fuck, dude. Oh, God. Okay, it looks like I'm about 4 seconds. I'm about 4 or 5 seconds. Woke up an optimist. Hold me back, I'm about to spaz. 4 or 5 seconds about ready to before someone doses me with some medication. Before someone tries to hold me down and give me a needle. And so I'm processing. I believe that I'm evolving through that kind of trauma that I've incurred. Like, now it's more of a scar tissue on me. When I first went through it, sucked. It was almost, dude, we've all been there. Like, we've all had our sort of moment like that where we feel like we're progressing in life, And, you know, all these sort of changes happen. We're going through life. We're putting space and time and various experiences and new kind of tools in our kit, you know, various shit like that in our lives. And then all of a sudden, whammo kablamo, something happens. Just a smell in the air will take you back, dude. Something, just a pattern of light, you know, the way that somebody spoke a word, you know, just one thing will trigger a kind of flash of a flashback experience of like, oh my God, I thought we were past this. Holy shit, we have entered the no-go zone. We've entered the room that we shall not enter in our mind, in our memories, in our experience, whatever. We're like, no. I thought we were past this. I thought this was over. I thought this was history. I thought this was gone. Fuck! I've experienced this. Is this what the dark night of the soul is? Or is this, you know, is this regular trauma or is this advanced trauma? Advanced darkness. Advanced darkness. Well, I asked the magic conch, and the magic conch said that I've grown from it. Said, yo! Because here's why. Here's exactly why. Nowadays when I think about things like my worst experiences, before I used to think, oh God, the sort of fear that would sort of kind of shepherd, you know, it would kind of equester me onward to like get back in the gate, you know, to get back and go do that thing or what have you. So that way, go and do that thing so that way we don't come and take you and send you away and, you know, that we don't do all these other things to you, send you to the loony bin, that we don't, you know, take away your autonomy or blah, 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 etc., etc. And it used to freak me the fuck out because I was thinking to myself, okay, anything but that. And I think now I'm at the point where dude, if that was my crucifixion, you know, I can totally accept my Jesus moment and be like, well, all right, if that's if it must be done, you know, fuck it, dude. I think I'm just less afraid of those outcomes at this point in my life, right? Because your boy's back, ain't he? Your boy's goddamn back, ain't he, huh? Look, I know it's blasphemous to mention the Lord's name like that, especially if you ever refer to yourself or someone in real life to Jesus Christ, oh my, yeah, fucking goddamn. Whoa, that's very taboo. That's very, you know, if you ever start talking to people like that in person, they're going to start, like, smiling at you. Their eyebrows are going to be raised. They're going to start nodding their head. Yeah. They've dismissed everything that you said. They basically are your hostage at this point in time. And they're like, yeah, I gotta get the fuck away from this dude. He is radical and strange, and he's talking about things that I don't want to talk about anymore. This is scary. I wish I would get those boring ass questions like, what's your favorite color? And what month were you born? Oh, what sign are you? You know, I want those conversations again. Can we go back to that? All I'm saying is that I have grown from my experience, and that I am less fearful of avenues that I've been down where bad things have happened before. Where things that were pressure filled and filled with discomfort, where I've been before, and now I feel like, well, no matter, I feel very confident in my own sort of assessment of the world. That before in time, dude, if I was ever feeling any kind of pressure or strangeness about the world, I would kind of look out at other people like, hey, are you guys feeling this kind of shit too? And some people would, some people, here's how I kind of thought of it when I would look to other people. I would see some people that I would look at and I would think to myself like, oh, these people are like brain dead. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on in their mind, but it doesn't really seem like there's anything more than a few crumbs and maybe one of those clapping tambourine monkeys, just clapping the cymbals in there, Simpson style. Ding, 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 ding. One of those fucking monkeys from Call of Duty Nazi Zombies. Fucking. Bing, 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 bing. Just drooling. So, I would see these people and think to myself, yeah, I don't know how much I can relate to these people. And then I'd see other people who were like, broad-chested, standing up straight, and looked like they were, like they had the name Chad or Veronica. The fucking... If there were any Chads or Veronicas listening to this, they're like, hey, nice. This is good news. People associate my name with the high life. Yes. Yeah, and so anytime I look to the world like, oh, if I... And it comes back. Not having enough faith. I have faith in my assessment of the world, whether it's good or it's bad nowadays. And I funnily enough, you know what? This is one of those reoccurring things in my life that my sort of wobble that I'll get in my life is that I will, it'll be like, it's definitely like a kind of inflated trust. Like, I'll start trusting. I'll just start fucking. I'll trust. Like, dude, now that I'm living, I'm a little obsessed. All right. So anytime there's like a sort of lullness or just a dullness, I do what I can to sort of like, fucking MJ, fucking hip thrust my way back into some zest in my life. I want some fucking, give me some seasoning, give me some flavor, throw a little bit of lime juice in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always looking for that little punch, that little endogenous natural kind of punch to life, where you can just, all you got to do is open your eyes a little wider, letting it, huh? It's almost like you can goad yourself into thinking like, oh my God, life really is kind of ridiculous. I'm inside a body right now. Oh my God. Have you ever thought, start asking yourself the weird question. Have you ever thought how awesome and strange and kind of crazy it's like, dude, we can actually fucking move these bodies around. Dude, check this shit out, dude. I'm pretending I'm a fucking water molecule right now. You should see the kind of shit that my body's doing, dude. I'm doing the fuck. Yes! Awesome, dude. Fucking awesome movie. And a lot of times, we just take this shit for granted, dude. We're moving, we're operating these sort of crazy ass bodies like as if they were just action figures that they can only move at the joints. They can only move at the elbow joint and the wrist joint, and they can only move in these sort of ding, 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 ding. Just so robotic. I'm over here like, okay, let me test out the sort of limit of the human fucking potential out here. Mind, body, and spirit, you know? Let me see what I can make. And do. And... this kind of thing. And so I guess the reason why I feel these kinds of things is because I recognize equality amongst man. Like, all men are created equal. There is no doubt about this whatsoever. Every single man, every single woman, every single child, every single human being, we might not all have the same physical capabilities, but as far as human beings and the potential that we have as this creature we are, it's like, yep, we're all created equal in that kind of way. You know, the limits of the human potential we know not. You know, the limits of human potential we know not the boundaries of. And so, when I'm in the USPS sending out some parcels, dropping off some packages to go send out, I don't have to second guess or question how strange, you know, I walk in there and I sense how different, you know, it's like walking into a room and the air just gets sucked out of the room immediately. You're like, oh my God, I can hear my heartbeat in my ears right now. It's so fucking quiet in here. Holy shit. And to even like, to I don't know, dude, I can't just walk into a place like that and just sort of, look, okay, I can do anything, okay? I can do absolutely anything, but I do have limits, and I do have restrictions, and I do have boundaries. A few of these boundaries that I currently have on my life, and I don't know for how long, but these are things that I value, and honestly, I'm a little scared to even let go of these things. I value what honesty is. I value what authenticity is. I value what my own sort of interpretation and perception of the world is. I value my connection with the universe. Okay, I value what I would put a label and say what God is. I value these things, and I'm scared. I'm scared to let these kinds of things go. I'm scared to let these sort of limitations and restrictions on who I believe myself to be, if I let these things go. I know there's sort of there's talk amongst the town about, dude, anybody who says that they just tell the truth and tell it like it is, that they're just honest, they're just real assholes, and they just say that the truth, they just say they tell the truth, but really they're just assholes. Okay. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue that. Definitely not going to argue that. But what do I have to say? What do I have to say? Oh, yeah. Like, I can do such that, but I don't want to use the powers of the mind to gaslight myself into believing a false reality. I don't want to treat I don't know if it's I don't want to treat my mind, or if I don't want to treat me using my mind in a sort of way that sort of go along to get along. Just go along to get along, honey. Go along to get along. Fucking, it's okay. It's all right. Just go. Just fucking go, dude. Like, my life experience isn't predicated on just being a part of this assembly line. It's like where in life was this sort of blueprint and coded into our way of life that we always have to be going, we always have to be doing, we always have to be constant, perpetual motion machines. What is it about? It's like, why can't we stop? Why can't we slow down? Why are we rushing this thing? Why? Dude, why is time? Why are the numbers more important, dude? How come time is more important than the energy, dude? The energy is more important than the time. The energy makes up the experience. Dude, I'll tell you what. When you have experiences with people who you love, people who you hate, oftentimes you don't remember the words that they said. You remember the energy behind the words. You remember how it felt to interact. You remember how it felt to be with them. Talking, playing, fighting. You remember how it felt. You don't remember the specific words. Every once in a while you might remember just like one sentence that sort of sticks in your mind for decades, but for the most part, life is when we look back on our lives, it's blurry, vague colors. It's figments. It's figments, collages, and scrapbook ideas of memories and experiences and feelings and sensations and love. Openness. You remember if someone was open or if they were closed. Our environments will affect how we feel, what we feel. Who is in that environment? Who is in the environment? And who we think we're interacting with in the environment will impact how we feel, how open we feel, how afraid we are, how brave we are, how worry-free, how anxious we are, how loving we are. If And so here is, if we were ever going to do some manipulation, if we were ever going to do some conjuring, if we were ever going to do some kind of magic in life, this is what God is, dude. This is what the universal connection is. If you are in a house, an apartment, you're inside. You're having inside thoughts. It's a closed space. There's like, it's different, okay? It really is. Your body is a system, and it can feel vast space before it. It's harder to notice if you are already inside. And you're already sort of surrounded. You're already sort of enveloped within it. You're already in the belly of the beast. This isn't for everybody, and not everybody has the sort of preferences for life that I do. I like being open. I like being outside. Hey, and that's not to say that I don't like being inside too. And it's not to say that I don't like being closed. Okay? Hey man, I'm versatile, all right? I can walk and chew gum. You know what I'm saying? So what am I trying to say with that? Oh, yes. I suppose I'm just passing out a gentle reminder. So the whole sort of Jesus loves you kind of thing. And what that means, dude, you know how many cards, how many various gifts I've gotten out in the world where people will pass me some cards, handwritten notes, maybe a little like a face mask or some flowers or some chocolates or something like that, little candies, something like that. And then they'll say, Jesus loves you. And I think to myself, all right, yeah, okay. Whenever I get messages such as these, I never know what they mean, really. I never know what the person was trying to say. I don't know. Honestly, it feels like it's a little bit more for them than it is for me. But I don't care. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Love you too. Thanks, Jesus. And this is dude, Jesus really is powerful as fuck. And you know why? Because Jesus is respected. Okay? I'm not even gonna do it. I'm not even gonna do it, dude. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, okay? This is the whole, touch the butt thing for me. It's like, I don't need to go touch the butt to go and prove myself to these various heathens who want to peer pressure me into doing some shit. It's like, Jesus is powerful, bro. Because no one is gonna just go outright and say, you, Jesus, and mean it. That would hurt, Why are we trying to hurt ourselves? What are we doing? Anyways, love you, Jesus. This is just a gentle reminder of the connection you have with the universe, the connection you have with every soul you've ever made, the connection you have with every soul who has ever impacted you positively, and that every soul that you have ever experienced in your life, who you love, who they have loved you, who you guys have had a blast just being beautiful friends to one another and just playing like children in the kingdom of heaven, just good-natured friendships. This is a shout out and a gentle reminder of all these connections that you've made in your life. Now, of course, I do also want to go into the bad ones, the ones that we don't like, the ones that we feel gross about as well. But this just goes into sort of, is this spirituality? Is this sort of being able to cook up a kind of mood for your life? Is this about sort of being able to do some kind of changing of the color on your mood ring? kind of thing? Maybe. You know, I think that, okay, here's something that I've learned about life, dude. If you, in your mind, if you hold people in, if you don't parent your mind will take control of you. If you allow your mind to hold bad thoughts inside of it, those bad thoughts will affect how you treat the people around you. And it's a little more difficult to see and really feel and experience when you're stuck inside, when you're just having indoor thoughts after indoor thoughts after indoor thoughts, and you're not sort of reacting or responding to your thoughts in real time. You're just sort of letting them pass on, and you're not combing through them, right? It's like getting emails after emails and letting them collect and just stack and build inside of your email thing, and now it's like you just got a whole bunch of junk mail all up in that email, and when you go to look for something, you can't find what you're looking for because you have to deal with all this clutter and junk and et cetera, et cetera. You know, so how you feel about life and how you feel about your most intimate, closest relationships are a direct result of who you think you're dealing with. You know, how are you viewing these people? You know, what do you think these people think of you? What do you think, you know, because we're living in these narratives and we're living in these stories. And so when we're quiet and we're not communicating, we will do the communicating inside our own minds, okay? And what that looks like is it's almost like we pretend or we feel as though we have telekinesis and we're communicating with other people with our minds, but really we're playing the judge, the jury, and the executioner. We're playing every fucking role. And you know what the truth is? The truth is you can either believe the narrative of your mind, and you can believe the sort of dialogue that your mind has created for you and the other person, and what your stories are and the dynamics between you two and your relationship. Or you can say to yourself, well, I mean, I guess I don't know with accuracy. Maybe the truth is that this isn't really what their perspective is on life. Maybe the truth is I don't really know what these other people are thinking, and this is really just a product of my own mind right now. Oh man. And so, you know, if we're not on top of these things, we can very easily just sort of go and fall astray and move completely off course. And of course, there's definitely some Taoists out there, there's some Buddhists, there's some contrarians, and people out there who will say, well, what do you know about the purpose of life? What do you know about the right direction to go, right? What do you know about anything at all? How come do you think that happiness and positive experiences are better than negative ones? That just shows how much you know. Yeah, negative experiences, they're actually some of the most growth inducing experiences. So really bad experiences and the worst experiences you can have, they grow you the most as humans, and so those are the best experiences. So I'm only really out here looking for bad experiences. You know. Okay. So, what if I put this one in your court? If we are gonna be living inside, if we are gonna be sort of receding into the hermit crab shells of our lives, which is something that we have to do from time to time in life. It's not like, okay, first of all, we don't have to do anything, and you can live your life however you want. And you don't have to go inside ever again. Anytime, you can follow your bliss. If you like living outdoors, you could just stay outdoors indefinitely, forever, and that's your life. And honestly, awesome. That'd be fucking awesome. How about this as just like a thought experiment, right? Just a hypothetical. Doesn't have to be life advice. No one has to take this. But how about this is just like how about let's explore the thought. I like doing things like this. I like exploring the ideas of things. So, come with me on this little journey of exploring this idea. If we are going to choose to go live inside, indoors, and we live indoors, and we're going to recede into our mind as opposed to responding to every little ting that our mind will go on about and chatter on about. What if? What if? What if we viewed it from the sort of lens that we were listening, we were observing, we were paying attention to, we were giving our attention to somebody that we love. Somebody that we're interested in. So I'm in this state right now. I'm in this state, and I can fire off a whole list of lyrics from songs that sort of embody this kind of feeling that I'm having right now. It's that, well, everybody, this has been amazing. I love this. I'm gonna head back inside now. I'm gonna make some dinner, and then I'm gonna do some other things, whether it be make art, edit some vids, perhaps go for a walk. I'm gonna continue on, everybody. Thank you so much for everything. This has been awesome. If you enjoyed this, then you enjoyed this. If you didn't, I hope your pain heals sooner rather than later. And cheers, everybody. Cheers.